Drumming looks really super easy, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't this look like I'm doing this without any effort? Well, let me tell you, it took many years and a lot of hard work and practice to get to this point, and along the way, I made a few mistakes. Hopefully, if I share what some of those basic mistakes I made as a new drummer were, you won't make the same ones. Welcome to Al's Drum Hang. Hey guys, it's me again. Thanks for tuning back in. Thanks for all your likes, subscribes. I really appreciate all the support you've given, and here we go. I thought about earlier this week how when I was starting out, I was pretty much self-taught. Sure, I had a lot of background playing trumpet and saxophone, and I'd played some bass before, and so I knew how to read music and I knew the basics of music. But I really didn't have very much direction in playing the drum set. And so today I'm going to talk about some of the things I ran into as a new drummer that quite honestly were mistakes. And I hope that you as new drummers can learn from my mistakes. The first mistake that most new drummers have that they don't learn how to correct for a while is that they don't learn how to get a good correct grip on the drumstick. And this is really important because it's really the fundamentals of everything we do as a drummer. I wish I had spent more time developing my grip correctly when I was a new drummer, because I have bad habits now that are causing me to work harder than I need to, and in some cases even potentially hurting me because I'm working too hard to drive the stick. I'm not going to go into a huge lesson here about how to hold the stick and the proper grip. There's plenty of videos on that, and quite honestly, what I suggest is, and I'm spoiling the video a little bit, as a new drummer, you get a teacher and somebody who shows you a proper way to hold the sticks from the beginning. Here's the thing, there's many ways to hold a drumstick, and there's many wrong ways to hold a drumstick, and there's many not quite wrong ways to hold a drumstick, and they'll work for a while until they don't. Best case, you might just get a tired hand, maybe a blister here and there. At the worst case, you might be doing yourself some serious damage later on with carpal tunnel syndrome, pulled tendons, all sorts of stuff. So I really suggest you start out with a good grip. This second thing that new drummers sometimes do that I think they should maybe get some help with is kind of near and dear to my heart. If you've been on Drummer World Forum, maybe you've seen the Tom Angles thread. And what this typically is beginner drum sets with the pearl L arms usually set up really badly. And so one of the things that I think new drummers really need some help with, and a mistake that they could easily avoid, is a bad setup. The toms are angled way too steeply towards them. Everything's placed awkwardly. In some circumstances, it looks as though no attempt was made at all by either the person playing the drums or the parents buying the drums for them to actually find out how drum sets are really set up correctly. And there's a reason, I think, that you see so many of these cheap drum sets with the pearl style L arms on sale on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and wherever with the tom set at wild angles. Sometimes you can tell this is how the person who owned them really tried to play them, and it was probably extremely uncomfortable. You have pedals at right angles to each other. You have toms that are set up in way weird angles. It could not have been very easy to play or transition from snare to toms. Cymbals at weird, high, it's just very awkward. No post that I found in my tom angles journey, though, could have really equaled this one. The ad says that they're selling the drum set because the kid didn't want to play them anymore. And if you look at the ad, it looks like somebody just kind of threw the drums together. They're not even at correct angles or in the right places. The pedals are all awkward, and this kid is going to hurt themselves playing these drums the way they're set up. If the drums are not fun to play because it's uncomfortable to play them or it hurts, that's bad. And once again, spoiling the video, a good teacher or experienced drummer can be a big help in this. The third mistake that many young drummers make, and this is a health and safety tip, is that they start playing and continue to play without hearing protection. And this is as serious as it gets, folks. You should not play drums without hearing protection, period. You just shouldn't. The only time I play drums without hearing protection is when I'm playing brushes at the lowest possible level. I almost never play drums at any level above that without at least earplugs, and usually I'm wearing in-ear monitors when I play live. Some simple science behind this, okay? I'm speaking at a sound pressure level, or volume, as people call it, of about 50 decibels right now. This is the noise level of a normal conversation. 60 decibels, which is maybe the sound of somebody doing dishes or a TV on in the same room, is actually twice as loud as 50 decibels. Drums are anywhere from 105 to 120 decibels. That is potential for traumatic hearing loss with not very much exposure. Talk to any drummer who's been around for any amount of time, or any musician for that matter, rock musician, and they'll complain about ringing in their ears. I have it. It's called tinnitus, and it's not going away. It's there forever. Sometimes it's less noticeable, sometimes it's very noticeable. And even with in-ear monitors and really taking care of myself, after a gig, sometimes my ears are ringing. And it's probably because I've snuck the volume up. You have to play with hearing protection. Anybody who says no, don't play with hearing protection, you won't hear things, you'll be detached from the instrument, they probably can't hear you asking questions because their hearing loss is so profound. And young drummers especially, please wear hearing protection, because all that stuff in your ears is still growing and forming, and it's especially vulnerable. Wear hearing protection. One of the biggest mistakes I made as a young drummer, and it took me years to figure it out and correct it, and I'm so glad I did, is that I did not practice with a metronome or to music played against a metronome. And this really was a problem, because when I started having to have better time, in other words, I'm in serious bands, I didn't have it. I didn't have it because I had not been practicing to a metronome. I had not learned to internalize that click. I had not figured out how to feel that relationship between beats at a steady tempo. If you can't play along with the metronome, but you should be able to, because everybody has a metronome on their smartphones now, at least play along to pre-recorded music that has a metronomic beat to it. And just get very comfortable with it. It's going to be a skill that really helps you out later in life as a drummer. It's what we're expected to do. We're expected to have good time. So there's no reason not to start off with it and just do it as often as you can. And the fifth and last thing, and I've spoiled this one a couple of times, is that there's many new drummers who say, well, I'm just going to be self-taught. And they stay self-taught. And that's where they never take lessons. And you don't have to take lessons for your entire life as a drummer. You don't have to take lessons for years. Even just a couple of lessons when you're starting out as a drummer is going to set you up for so many good habits and remove the possibility of so many bad habits. I can't overstate this. If you just think about what I've been talking about, where I had not been gripping the sticks exactly correctly, my setup was a little bit wonky. I had not been practicing to a metronome or along to pre-recorded music that was recorded to a metronome. If I just had a teacher who stressed those things to me, maybe I would have shortcutted past a lot of this pain and misery that I was in for. And I would have had a better grip, less pain. I would have gotten to an ergonomic setup more quickly. And I would have spent far fewer times sitting out on recording sessions because I couldn't nail the click. In this day and age, a teacher doesn't have to be sitting next to you at the drum kit. You can get Zoom lessons or online lessons. There's many ways to go about it. But I do suggest at least one, if you can possibly, do it at all with a live person so they can hold the sticks with you and show you exactly what to do. They can maybe show you what's right about a drum set. Maybe on your drum set, they can help set it up correctly and show you why it's set up correctly. They can recommend a good metronome app for you and some music maybe to start drumming along with. And if they're a good drum teacher, they should be telling you to wear hearing protection at all times. Get a drum teacher. It is the best investment you can make for your new drumming career. How'd I do? Are these the same 5 things you would have said that a young drummer needs to know, the 5 mistakes they need to avoid? What are some of the other mistakes you made as a young drummer that you wish you hadn't? Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Once again, I appreciate all your views, your likes, your subscribes. Don't forget to enable your notifications. And thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time.